India's vast coastline is home to diverse and fragile ecosystems. Among these are two unique regions, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Sundarbans Delta. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are a remote archipelago in the Bay of Bengal. They consist of over 500 islands, known for their pristine beaches, rich coral reefs, and dense tropical rainforests. These islands are far from the Indian mainland, making them isolated yet ecologically significant. Their geography presents unique challenges for development and energy security. They are a jewel of biodiversity, but also a place where human needs must be met with extreme care to protect the natural environment that sustains them. The Sundarbans, on the other hand, is the world's largest mangrove forest. It is a vast delta spread across India and Bangladesh, formed by the confluence of several major rivers. This region is a complex network of tidal waterways, mudflats, and small islands. It is a critical habitat for the Royal Bengal tiger and countless other species. The people of the Sundarbans live a life intertwined with the rhythm of the tides and the challenges of a constantly changing landscape. Their homes are often threatened by erosion and rising sea levels. Both regions, despite their geographical differences, share a common vulnerability to climate change and an urgent need for sustainable energy solutions. The quest for energy in these fragile zones is a critical test of our commitment to sustainable development. For decades, both the Andaman Islands and the Sundarbans have relied heavily on polluting diesel generators for their electricity. This dependence is not only expensive but also environmentally damaging. The transportation of fossil fuels to these remote locations is costly and carries the risk of oil spills, which would be catastrophic for their delicate ecosystems. The noise and air pollution from diesel generators also disrupt the local environment and wildlife. Therefore, the transition to clean, renewable energy is not just a choice. It is a necessity for their survival and long-term well-being. Both regions represent a microcosm of the global climate challenge. They are on the front lines, facing the direct impacts of a warming planet, from more intense cyclones to rising sea levels. At the same time, they hold immense potential to become models of climate-resilient, low-carbon development. Their journey towards renewable energy is a story of innovation, community action, and policy intervention. It is a tale that offers valuable lessons for other coastal and island communities around the world that are grappling with similar problems. How they manage this transition will determine the future of their unique environments and the prosperity of their people, showing how we can balance human needs with nature. The primary challenge in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands is their geographical isolation. Being far from the mainland grid means they must generate their own power locally. Historically, this has been achieved through a network of diesel power plants spread across the inhabited islands. This system is incredibly inefficient and costly. The government heavily subsidizes the cost of diesel, placing a significant financial burden on the state. Furthermore, the logistical challenge of transporting fuel barrels by sea to dozens of scattered islands is immense. This reliance on fossil fuels creates a paradox. The very energy source powering the islands also threatens their greatest asset, their pristine natural environment. In the Sundarbans, the energy challenge is defined by its complex riverine geography and widespread poverty. The region is a maze of islands and waterways, making it extremely difficult and expensive to extend the central electricity grid to every village. Many communities have lived without reliable access to electricity for generations. This energy poverty limits opportunities for education, healthcare, and economic development. Children cannot study after dark, and local businesses cannot use modern equipment. The lack of electricity also forces residents to rely on kerosene lamps for lighting, which pose health risks and are a fire hazard in their thatched roof homes. The difficult terrain makes infrastructure development a slow and arduous process. Climate change exacerbates these energy and environmental challenges in both regions. The Andaman Islands are highly vulnerable to sea level rise, which threatens coastal infrastructure, including power plants. They also face the increasing frequency and intensity of cyclones, which can damage energy infrastructure and disrupt supply chains for fuel. For the Sundarbans, the threats are even more immediate. Rising sea levels and coastal erosion are actively washing away land, displacing communities, and destroying infrastructure. The salinization of soil and water affects agriculture and livelihoods, pushing people deeper into poverty and making it harder to invest in long-term solutions like stable energy systems. Beyond the physical challenges, there are significant socio-economic barriers. In the Andaman Islands, the need to protect indigenous tribal communities and fragile ecosystems places strict limitations on large-scale development projects. Any energy project must undergo rigorous environmental impact assessments. In the Sundarbans, low population density in some areas and the dispersed nature of settlements make centralized energy projects financially unviable. The low income levels of the population also mean that affordability is a key concern for any new energy service. Addressing the energy needs of these regions requires solutions that are not just technologically sound, but also socially equitable and environmentally sustainable. In response to these challenges, both regions have begun to embrace renewable energy, but their approaches differ significantly. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands have seen a major push from the central government towards large-scale solar power. The government has facilitated the development of megawatt-scale solar power plants, often coupled with battery energy storage systems. For example, significant solar projects have been installed in Port Blair and other major islands. This top-down government-led model aims to replace the old diesel generators with clean, reliable power on a large scale. The focus is on centralized generation to provide grid-quality electricity to the main population centers. The Sundarbans, in contrast, have become a showcase for decentralized, community-managed renewable energy systems. Due to the difficulty of grid extension, the focus has been on off-grid solutions. Small-scale solar microgrids have been established in numerous remote villages, often managed by local village energy committees or entrepreneurs. This bottom-up approach empowers local communities to take ownership of their energy supply. Non-governmental organizations and social enterprises have played a crucial role in financing, implementing, and providing technical training for these microgrids. The solutions are tailored to the specific needs of each community, providing power for homes, schools, and small businesses. The outcomes of these differing models reflect their respective strengths and weaknesses. In the Andamans, the government-led solar projects have successfully reduced diesel consumption in larger towns, contributing to significant carbon emission reductions. They provide a stable and reliable power supply, which is essential for tourism and other economic activities. However, this centralized approach can sometimes overlook the needs of smaller, more remote islands, which may still rely on polluting diesel generators. The large land requirement for these solar farms can also be a point of conflict in an ecosystem where land is a precious and sensitive resource. In the Sundarbans, the community-led model has been highly effective in bringing electricity to the most marginalized and remote households. It has fostered local entrepreneurship and built community resilience. Villagers are trained to operate and maintain the systems, creating local jobs. However, these small-scale systems can face challenges with financial sustainability and technical maintenance in the long run. Ensuring a steady supply of spare parts and access to skilled technicians in such a remote area can be difficult. While these microgrids are transformative, scaling them up to meet the growing energy demands of the entire region remains a significant hurdle that requires continued support. The experiences of the Andaman Islands and the Sundarbans provide critical insights for achieving global sustainability goals. Both regions directly contribute to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 7, affordable and clean energy, by shifting away from fossil fuels. Their efforts also align with Sustainable Development Goal 13, climate action, by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and building resilience to climate impacts. Furthermore, by adopting clean energy that minimizes pollution, they help protect their unique marine and coastal ecosystems, supporting Sustainable Development Goal 14, life below water. Their journeys demonstrate that even the most vulnerable regions can be leaders in the global transition to a sustainable future, showing a clear commitment to these interconnected goals. To build on this progress, clear policy recommendations are needed. For both regions, a hybrid approach that combines the best of centralized and decentralized models is essential. In the Andamans, while large solar farms are useful, the government should also promote rooftop solar on government buildings and private homes and invest in microgrids for remote islands. In the Sundarbans, the government needs to provide stronger financial and regulatory support for community-managed microgrids, ensuring their long-term viability. A key recommendation is to build local capacity. This means training local youth as solar technicians and managers, creating a self-sustaining ecosystem for renewable energy maintenance and expansion. A crucial lesson is the importance of tailored, context-specific solutions. A one-size-fits-all approach to energy planning will not work in such diverse geographies. For the Andamans, energy solutions must consider land scarcity and the need for storm-resilient infrastructure. For the Sundarbans, Solutions must be flood-proof, affordable, and designed for community management. Diversifying the renewable energy portfolio is also vital. While solar is dominant, the potential for wind, tidal, and biomass energy should be explored where feasible. This would create a more resilient and reliable energy system, less dependent on a single source and better adapted to local conditions. Ultimately, the stories of the Andaman Islands and the Sundarbans are powerful reminders that community involvement is the bedrock of sustainable development. Technology and policy are important, but without the active participation and ownership of local communities, no solution will last. These coastal regions teach us that the path to a sustainable energy future is not just about installing solar panels, it is about empowering people, respecting nature, and building resilient societies. Their struggles and successes offer a blueprint for other climate-vulnerable coastal and island nations worldwide, showing that a clean and equitable energy transition is not only necessary, but also achievable. Documentary by Dr. Poulomi Dutta,